Hey guys, my name is Dave Tim. Thank you very much for checking out this video. Shooting a suppressed rifle can be a very enjoyable experience. It not only helps your ears, but it helps those shooting around you as well. Now, one of the downsides when you're shooting suppressed though is that oftentimes when we have the rifle up, because of the charging handle, a lot of times we feel more gas in our face. And I have shot some rifles that are suppressed that after just a few rounds, it is just downright obnoxious. That gas and ammonia type cloud that's in your face, it makes your eyes water. It just makes it unenjoyable to shoot. Now, there are some things that we can do if we have a suppressed rifle, such as an enhanced carrier that would help exhaust some of the gas pressure out of the carrier and the ejection port. But one of the simplest, easiest, cheapest things you can do is make a do-it-yourself gas buster charging handle. Now what I mean by that is, you can see on this one, I have some silicone, some RTV high heat silicone built up on the charging handle. And when the charging handle is closed, you can see it makes a seal around here. So therefore, that gas pressure that I was talking about before doesn't come back through here and hit you in the face, at least not nearly as much. On this particular rifle, this is an 11.5-inch gun with a dead air can, and when I first was shooting it, I did feel some gas, but it really wasn't unpleasant and I was still able to shoot. But once I did this easy quick mod, it made all the difference in the world. Now, first things first, this is not my idea. I'm not going to take credit for this. I first read about it online years ago, and I don't even know who really invented it, because the guy that I read it about, he even said it's not his idea. But what I haven't seen is a really great video on how to do that. So we're going to take this rifle here, and everything's been checked, it's unloaded and clear, and I'm going to show you how I do it, and it's really, really easy. So to begin with, you'll need some high heat silicone. I'm using a Permatex gasket maker. This is, high heat resistance, and it comes in black, so it works out really slick. Additionally, you'll need some shoe polish or paste wax or some other type of release agent. And then what makes the job really handy is some Q-tip swabs, maybe a couple of rags or cloths. A torch or a lighter can come in handy, and I'll show you how we use that. Something to clean and degrease with. I'm just using denatured alcohol. And then because we're using silicone, I would recommend throwing on a set of gloves. So let me throw on a set of gloves, throw this rifle in the vise, and we'll get started. The first thing we're going to do is separate the upper from the lower so we can take out the bolt carrier and the charging handle. Now we're going to take a rag and some cleaning solvent, and we're just going to clean the outside of the upper receiver and the inside. We don't need to do a detail clean, just where the charging handle pretty much comes in contact with the back of the upper receiver. You want to make sure that you're getting underneath here too. If you want, flip up the rear sight and clean that up as well. And I'm just going to follow that up with a swab. Now we're going to clean the charging handle itself. And again, I'm just using that same denatured alcohol and a rag. And I'm taking care to clean this area in particular. And we'll do a final clean before we apply the silicone, but we want the silicone to stick to this, not to the upper receiver. Here, we're going to apply a release agent, and for the release agent, this is what that shoe polish comes in handy for. And what the shoe polish does is the shoe polish will coat the upper receiver and prevent the silicone from sticking here, so that way when it dries and cures, we can release it. So what I like to do is I'll actually heat up the upper receiver, and what this does is it will allow that shoe polish to absorb right in there. So I'm just going to heat this up. I don't need to get it super hot. Get underneath there as well, because we're definitely going to want to put release agent underneath there. So once that's warm, I'll take a swab and take some clear shoe polish. And because it's warm, you'll see that it just absorbs right into the aluminum. And it's easy to see where you've applied it and where you missed. So we're just going to apply it all over there and coat the area generously with the release agent. If it cools down, you can go ahead and heat it right back up. And apply more. You can apply it with your finger if you wanted to as well, but make sure you have a good healthy coat all along the inside and along the back of the upper receiver. Now I'll go ahead and put the charging handle in the upper, put the bolt carrier in, connect the two. Now I'm going to lock the bolt back to the rear, and now I'm going to do my final degreasing of the charging handle. So really make sure you clean this area well. Again, we want the silicone to stick to this, and because we have all that wax built up there, it should not stick to that. Now I'm going to rotate this so you guys can see it a little bit better on camera. Now we're going to take our silicone, and you don't need very much, and if you have that little spout that comes with it, great. If not, don't worry about it. We'll clean up the excess here in a little bit. But we're just going to put a small bead, and that is way too much. It's just the least amount I could get without having the blob on, you know, that little spout on there to prevent a blob like that, but that's okay. So I'm just going to kind of get it to where it needs to go, and in fact here I can even take away some of the excess. And we'll clean up some of this before it cures as well. So about like that much, and that's even a little bit too much too. Now before, what some of you are thinking is just let it go home. No, I actually don't want it to go all the way forward. I actually want it to cure when it's just slightly back. So I'm going to use this broken off swab, and I'm going to slowly let the bolt carrier come forward. And so you guys can see, I'm going to actually stick the swab on the charging handle latch like that, so it prevents it from going all the way forward. And then you can also stick a swab in the bolt carrier area as well, again to prevent from coming all the way forward and locking in. I want it to be like maybe a millimeter or so from locking in, and I want that area to build up with silicone. That way when it does close all the way, it's going to have that nice tight seal because the silicone will give a little bit. So right about there is looking pretty good. Yeah, just about like that. And I can see the gap on the other side here too. So that right about there is great. So now what I can do is you can take your finger and you can put even just a little bit of alcohol on it, and you can kind of clean up some of the excess. Like that. Then we can take a swab and clean up the excess as well. So that is really as easy as it is, and let that sit overnight, and you'll have something that looks like this. So you can see in there we have a nice smooth line because we had that release agent or that shoe polish, so it didn't stick to the upper receiver. It's a nice dam, if you will, for that gas, and then when it locks in place, you can see we have that nice tight seal there as well. When you're going to take this apart after it sits overnight, just slowly pull it back because there might just be a little bit at the bottom that's a little sticky, and you can clean that up. But just go nice and slow, and if you need to, you can even use like a plastic butter knife or maybe an X-Acto knife to kind of help if there is a sticky spot. So just go nice and slow. It'll release just fine if you use enough shoe polish, and then let the rest of it dry and you'll be good to go. So in this quick tip, we made a do-it-yourself gas buster charging handle with just a little bit of RTV silicone that makes shooting suppressed a lot more enjoyable experience. I hope you found this quick tip useful. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if there's any quick tips or videos that you want to see, make sure you leave some comments in the section below. Please check us out online and on Facebook. Thank you guys very much for watching, and have a great day.